Michael O'Donnell here with Purdue Extension. We are at Living Prairie Family Farms in Wolcott, Indiana, back in the field of popcorn that is eligible for organic certification this year, following wheat and 2 years of alfalfa through transition. As noted in a previous video, this field of alfalfa was hit a couple of times with a Limpkin Heliodor and a Limpkin Reuben just prior to planting. All of these were fairly shallow tillage passes, and we anticipated that some of this alfalfa would survive. As we can see here, the corn's up, but we also still have a lot of alfalfa. So the strategy that Jason Federer is using to try to manage this popcorn crop and get it back competitive and going against this alfalfa is to use a Lilliston cultivator and to try to uproot and get rid of the alfalfa between the rows, open up a little more space for this popcorn crop to be competitive and get up ahead of the alfalfa that is still in the row. So we're going to take a look at this Lilliston cultivator running through this field, see what it's doing for us, look at before and after how much alfalfa we've got, and what this Lilliston cultivator is doing for us to try to reduce the alfalfa that survived the primary and secondary tillage passes. Okay, this is a view of where we just made a pass with the Lilliston cultivator, and you can see how those rolling cultivators are digging up some of the alfalfa. Some of it's just getting laid down with the idea that we're just trying to give this corn more space, an opportunity to try to get up and be more competitive. Recognizing that it's going to be hard to take this stuff out, and at this point trying to play this game of competition, give that corn more of an advantage. But wanted to look at a couple things here. Given all this green material up until planting, there'd be the concern about insect pests, cutworm, armyworm, things like that. And in fact, there is some of both in this field causing some damage. So that's going to be another thing to navigate here with this popcorn crop. Here on this corn plant, we can see some feeding damage on the leaves. And right there, looks like possibly an armyworm there. Just having a wonderful time with this sweet, scrumptious corn plant. So trying new things, different things with this organic popcorn crop, following shallow tillage of 2 years of alfalfa, where this alfalfa wasn't fully terminated, and we've created a nice habitat for some of these pests of concern. But we'll see if this Lilliston cultivator pass helps to give this corn the space it needs to get going, and whether or not these worm pests, armyworm, black cutworm, if they are going to cause too much of a problem. Right now, the feeding damage appears to be fairly minimal, but we'll see if it can outgrow it. So late on June 25th, beautiful evening in early summer. We're back at Living Prairie Family Farm. Jason Federer, the owner, farmer, is cultivating this field of organic popcorn. He's got the ridging wings on the back of the Henniker 12-row Henniker cultivator. We'll take a look at that running through the field, how much it's ridging up dirt around this corn. And wanted to take a look at a few things here. So last time we visited, there was concern about armyworm pressure coming on. The corn was at a very vulnerable stage at that point. And we can see now that this corn has grown beyond that stage of where it would be vulnerable to armyworm. And the armyworm reached the stage where it begins to pupate, got to that 1.25 inch size, at which we no longer need to worry about it. So there are portions of this field where there's some pretty good feeding damage on the leaves of corn, but the growing points are intact, and so this corn is continuing to grow. We've had great heat units. You can see the nice dark color in this corn, so fertility is not a limiting factor here. But what is could be a limiting factor if we don't get some storms that are forecasted for the weekend is moisture. So I don't have the records on me now, but I believe that this corn hasn't seen maybe around an inch of rainfall for the last 3 to 4 weeks. So it's getting very dry, and this is in the field where we had the alfalfa that wasn't fully terminated from pre-plant tillage. So if we look down here into the corn canopy, we can see this alfalfa. The corn's getting up above this alfalfa finally. The alfalfa's in bloom, so it's going to be done soon. So this corn's going to have a great chance to get going, but hopefully can get a drink of water and keep pushing ahead. We can see Jason in the distance there running the 12-row Henniker with the ridging wings. This will be the last cultivation pass in this field. So we'll take a look at another section in this field where there's a little more damage from the armyworm. But this corn, given what it's experienced here with the competition with the alfalfa, limited moisture here in the month of June, and armyworm pressure, I'd say that moving forward, if we can get some good moisture, this popcorn crop has a good chance of producing a good crop. So here are some rows where we have a little bit more evidence of the armyworm feeding. The corn is clearly not as vigorous compared to the alfalfa. From where we were previously, we can see the feeding damage on these leaves. But the corn is putting on new growths, so that growing point of the corn was not damaged from armyworm feeding. So I think it's a matter of seeing how this corn progresses. Hopefully it gets a little bit of moisture and can take off as this alfalfa reaches full bloom.